So I'm recording this in mid-December of 2021, and this past month, inflation hit a 38-year high. It was 6.8%. At least the reported number hit a 38-year high. The way inflation is measured has changed a lot over the last 38 years, right? This 6.8% that we're talking about today is very different from the 6.8% that your grandfather experienced in the 1980s. Over the last 30-some years, we've done a lot to try to underreport inflation for a number of reasons, but most notably because a lot of government obligations are indexed to inflation, right? Every month, Social Security is adjusted for inflation, the qualification rules for various things, your tax brackets, right? So for example, if you make, assuming you actually made enough income to compensate for inflation, your tax rates are going to be higher from one year to the next because the tax brackets, as well as various deductions, are not indexed for inflation. So underreporting inflation has the effect of raising taxes while at the same time lowering benefits for various government programs. So how do they do this? Well, two of the biggest ones are substitution and hedonic indexing. So I thought I could give some examples in my own everyday life on how the government might manipulate my spending to say, hey, there's no inflation. So 2 years ago, 2020, I made a New Year's resolution to normalize my relationship with food. I used to have binge eating problems. I probably eat about half as much as I did 2 years ago in terms of the calories. Well, if you're in the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you're going to say that, you only need to eat half as much, so we're going to count how much you spend on food today versus how much you spent on food 2 years ago. And in the case of myself, you would actually probably see deflation. I spend less money, way less money on food today than I did 2 years ago, right? Now, during the pandemic, I broke up with my girlfriend. I was planning to propose to her, but the more time we spent apart, the more we realized we weren't meant for each other. But I still continue to go out and have a good time as a solo sexual, right? Well, if you're in the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you could compare what I used to spend on heterosexual dating versus what I now spend on solo sexual dating. Again, you'll probably see deflation there too, right? Now, the other adjustment they make is hedonic index. Oh, I forgot one more substitution. Obviously, this past year, I haven't been able to go to the Computer Olympiad conference. I compete in a computer conference every year. I haven't been able to go to Taiwan, to Amsterdam, where it used to be held, and instead I attended online, right? You'll see major deflation there, right? If you compare what I used to spend on travel, and now I just have to spend an entrance fee, right? Major deflation. I cook my food at home too. I don't have to go to a restaurant in Amsterdam, right? Oh my God, you could easily see 80% deflation in my Computer Olympiad costs, right? So there are some substitutions that the government could do, right? If you did it for me, you would see major deflation if you made just those three substitutions, right? But it gets even better because there's also hedonic indexing. What hedonics is they assume that the stuff you buy today is better quality, right? So if you can buy, even though the price of cars is going up, the model of car you could buy today is very different from the model car you could buy last year. Now, you notice how they never make hedonic adjustments if things are getting worse, right? So this computer that I'm using for the Olympiad, it's about 2 years old, and already it's showing signs of aging, right? I remember when I was a kid, my dad had a 286, and it lasted like 20 years, right? Not to mention how quickly the memory gets obsolete nowadays, right? So for example, in my own life, well, the Computer Olympiad, even though it's held online, we have a better version of Zoom to use this year, right? You could say that. You could say that even though I'm eating half as many calories, my lifestyle is a whole lot better, I'm healthier, I'm 10 years younger than I was last year. Oh my God, your food is going a lot further for you, right? Not only are you spending less, but it's going further for you. You could argue that I'm no longer getting into fights with my significant other now that I'm solo sexual, right? Oh my God, if you factor all that in, I probably have a 90% deflation rate, right? Talk about transitory, right?